friends of film, and everyone in between. Welcome to the Film Folklore Podcast. I am Jed Props, and I am joined today by Zoe Props.
Hello.
And Justin Sound.
Hello.
Chris could not be here. He was actually going to be here, but he had a last-second text message. Zoe, where's Chris?
Chris is somewhere.
I got this. Zoe.
Thank you, Justin.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Justin, where is Chris?
He's playing in two bands at once. The truth is finally out. He's at two different band practices. He's got a clone. So that's where he's at.
I just imagine he's in the Bugs Bunny getup where it's like the multiple instruments in one instrument kind of thing.
Yes.
So that's how he's performing.
I like to imagine that he fell into a pile of manure, Back to the Future style. That's why he couldn't come. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
that works too.
He made like a tree and got out of there.
That might have also happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting from one band to the other.
Yeah.
That's all making sense because I thought he was saying the name of the band was Manure, but now I'm realizing he fell into
a pile of manure.
He was being literal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there you go. So we have a really wonderful guest today, and in my opinion, equal parts fun and stressful job, but we'll let them weigh in on that. I do think this is a great guest, too, for non-industry listeners because this job is behind a lot of how does that work type of questions people have. But first, real quick, we're going to talk props in the art department. So thinking about some of your favorite movies and TV, can y'all think of any iconic like fake products or funny billboards, wall posters, etc., anything like that that stands out to you? To kind of maybe get the memory going, I have some examples here, like Cyberdyne Systems in Terminator, the red logo that's very iconic, or Brondo in Idiocracy, the Gatorade.
Sure.
It's got electrolytes. But can y'all think of anything specific? It could be a show logo. Ghostbusters, for example, is very iconic. But
I'll say Silicon Valley does a really good job with a lot of their, takes on the larger companies that they're kind of making fun of.
Hooli,
yeah.
Instead of Google, yeah.
Some of those are some of my favorite. Yeah,
that's a brilliant show.
Dude, Severance.
Oh yeah,
watching all their Lumen stuff.
That's right. Which I haven't started season 2 yet. Have you started season 2?
Oh, big time.
Oh, I better get into it tonight. So we also have a lot of fake prop products specifically that we can buy already made stuff from the graphic departments of the major prop houses. So like the Ham Prop Room or ISS, Target Props, those bigger groups, they all have their own graphic departments, and they have kind of pre-made, packaged, it could be fast food branding or something like that. Mm-hmm. And without going into it, because there's a whole clearance legal thing that has gotten silly in our industry and out of control, and it's not interesting. But where that stuff can help is if we're maybe in a tight time-sensitive issue, or maybe we just don't have time to have a graphic done. Maybe we're on a show that doesn't have a graphic person. That sometimes has happened. Mm-hmm. So there are certain things we can get in a pinch. But generally, we need a graphics person. And that graphics person is making all these things for us. And it can be anything, like a soda can, popcorn bucket. I have it listed here. Some of the maybe more iconic pre-made ones that come from the studio houses are Morley cigarettes, the rip-off Marlboro cigarettes.
X-Files.
Right, classic.
What was the fast food restaurant from Coming to America?
Oh, God. The dad was just on a show I was watching today, oddly enough. Oh, man. You broke my brain. It's like
tell you who would know.
But like Heisler beer is another one. If you've ever seen Heisler, I think that one comes from ISS, I believe. But yeah, there's a lot of these pre-made ones, and then we also get stuff that's made to be show specific, kind of the things that we've mentioned. And there's also a time, and this is the other thing I wanted to ask y'all: are there times that you've noticed the fake stuff, like the fake stuff sticks out because it's fake?
Yeah. It's usually with TV.
TV especially.
There have been times where you see a beer and it's like, well, just doesn't look like a great label. You know what I mean? Like it's just like a background thing. It's usually food or drink stuff normally.
Yes.
For me. And that's just because I don't know. We spend a lot of time. I mean, I worked on a show where we covered everything in decals, a lot of toiletries and beers, because everything was supposed to be period in the 90s. Right. So Barbasol toothpaste, we needed the however their logo looked in 1990, whatever. Right. So yeah, there was just a lot of that, and a lot of it's rushed too. And I've noticed there's some things where I'm like, that.
In those situations, I try. Now, there are a lot of variables, but I try to. I'm trying to think of an example. Like maybe it's the 90s and they just need a snack. It doesn't need to be a specific snack necessarily, but they want a snack. Mm-hmm. Then I'll try to find who is currently doing maybe a retro packaging or whose packaging hasn't altered that much over the years, and that's an easy workaround maybe to getting some of that period stuff. But a lot of times, to your point, if it's like maybe we're on a show that has a deal with Pepsi, but this is supposed to be 1993. Well, now we're going back to the product placement agency that's like the middleman and saying, hey, we need the graphics from your client so that we can recreate the vintage packaging for that situation. Mm-hmm. So it is definitely a thing that it comes up a lot. I have three main reasons for using fake products. And I have the story is set in a fictional universe that forces the need for fake graphics. Mm-hmm. So there's that. A scene that calls for some type of graphic, maybe a poster or a beer, but the scene is sensitive. Maybe it's a violent or a lewd scene, for example. And so a real brand maybe doesn't want to be seen in the same scene as something negative. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is a lot of network TV and some other TV where there can be ad sales heavily involved, maybe competing brands. And so it's easier or safer to use fake products. Mm-hmm. This is one of the many reasons I hate working in television, because you can, say for prop purposes, I can go, oh, great. My Apple rep is able to get us, 6 laptops that'll serve this need that we have on this. And then maybe after I've made this deal, I'm finding out from the company that it's like, oh, well, we're a Microsoft exclusive show. Mm-hmm. And then you're going, well, you could have said that first of all, because now I've wasted time. But also, I just hate these rules being put into place that makes things feel unnatural, because, the reality is not everybody should have an Apple laptop. Not everybody should have a Microsoft. There should be a mix of these things because that's the reality of it. But sometimes, this is why I was asking you about the fake stuff. Sometimes I feel like these things can be more distracting and kind of take you out of the story if they stand out too much. And there's an interesting fine line between not turning something into a Coca-Cola commercial, but also not having a soda can that just says soda on it. So it's like,
this is a really lame example, but the show, the Disney show, or maybe Nickelodeon, I don't remember, iCarly.
Disney?
It's whatever the hell it is.
It's the girl from School of Rock. That's all.
Yes, it's the girl from School of Rock. But their products in it, and I think her whole thing is like she has a YouTube channel. Who the hell knows? Whatever. But her laptop is, it's not the Apple logo. It's like it's some other fruit, like a pear or something. And I remember, even being younger, being like, that's really distracting. But that's what I think of immediately. Is it's just like very obviously not, that doesn't exist. You should have just covered it up and not had it just be this, I don't know, weird apple other fruit thing. Yeah.
I think I'm the opposite. I don't notice as much when things are bad. Like this soda can that just says soda wouldn't bother me, I don't think.
Oh, really?
Much. Yeah.
Well, we are speaking from a department. So
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I notice it more when things are done really well.
Mhm.
And I can, that's a cool brand. I would totally buy that, even though it's fake,
That's, you bring up a good point too, in the design itself, that sometimes you'll see stuff where the design maybe just doesn't feel realistic enough. Like there's just something about it that looks fake and less natural. And kind of to your point with Silicon Valley, they really did do a great job inside of that universe. That's a show that, we were just talking about this on the terrible thing I won't talk about that I just had to work on. But what we were talking about on it was, if you have a show that's about farming, well, by God, you should have a lot of money invested in the farming aspect of your show, such as the tractor, the equipment, the farming tools, the costume and clothes for the farm, the location of the farm, the animal wrangling of the animals. That is not something you should be skimping financially on, because it is the crux of your project.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where maybe we were having an issue on the thing I was working on, because the money was not being put where it should have been. And Silicon Valley is definitely one of those shows where you can see they very smartly, anything obviously tech related, but also in the design and the graphics and everything else, like that's just a really well done show. I kind of want to go watch it again.
I've never seen it.
It's up your alley. You should watch it. It's a good.
Zach Woods is in that.
Yes,
right. I love Zach Woods.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
I love him in Avenue 5. So
he's OJ, and you can watch a show to figure out why he's OJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the first show I really noticed him in, and fell in love with him as an actor. That he's so good in that show.
Yeah.
But everyone's great in that show.
I would like to say just one more thing that distracted me in a show, and I think this was very much so real. And I had to stop and rewind it because I actually missed what happened in the scene because I was so distracted. They're eating Cheetos, but it is Cheetos that I've never seen before. But it is a Cheetos brand, but they're like these giant twisty Cheetos I've never seen in my life, and was just really freaked out by them. So maybe the real brands are
them?
Well,
no, it was this giant fucking Cheeto. I couldn't get past it. That he like it was the new season of True Detective, Night Country, whatever. But he gives this person Cheetos and a soda, and they were the weirdest Cheetos I've ever seen.
Really?
I have
It's
one
all
question,
I could think.
and then I might have a theory.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the packaging? Could you see the packaging for the?
Yeah,
Cheetos?
and it was Cheetos. It was proper
a
Cheetos.
Standard Cheeto bag.
It was proper Cheetos.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I don't know.
I think.
What was in
I
it
think
was not.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe even like a regional thing. Maybe they don't sell those down here. I don't really know what was going on, but these Cheetos were
Alaskan
gigantic and twisty.
Canadian Cheetos.
And it's all I can think about. We literally had to rewind the scene because I finally turned and I was like, man, I'm really distracted by these
You're like,
Cheetos.
am I high?
And Ross was like, oh my God, I am too. I have no idea what they just said.
Or did I forget what a Cheeto looks like?
Yeah, no, it was really blowing my mind. So,
That's fantastic. Yeah. My guess was going to be, because now all of that candy and junk food world, if y'all haven't noticed, rather than come up with new ideas, they're just merging existing things.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, if you like nerds and you like Cheetos, why don't you get Cheeto Nerds?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's they're all I feel like everything is like that now. Where
Well, there's a show called Upload on I
oh
don't know if
yeah,
you
I've heard
guys-
of that. Yeah.
where they actually do a lot of that, where there's a lot of these giant corporations have now merged, and so you have things like Albertsons Sprint. You know?
Sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
it really is terrible. And getting stocking stuffers is where I really was noticing it last Christmas, because I'm just shopping for random things to throw in stockings, and suddenly I'm going like, when did nerd clusters become a thing? I'm stuck on nerds right now.
Yeah.
But and then it's
Nerd clusters have been around. It's like
It
a
has
rope.
it.
It's like
Okay.
a rope.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was
where they have nerd ropes.
it was the
and
gummy.
clusters.
Yeah, it was the gummy nerd combo rope thing.
I think we know far too much.
Oh, I
about
don't know.
this.
Yeah.
I feel like they used to do that
Because
more.
there's a-
I miss those Doritos that
There's
were
a
like
sweet
poofs.
tart common or a combo one as well, where it's like the sweet tart and maybe Twizzlers have been roped or into it. I don't know, but
For a while, the FDA was slowly banning every dye color that went into nerds.
right. Hey, these are all gray. Anyway, but yeah, I guess getting us back on track. As the title of the episode would suggest, we are talking to a graphic artist today, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the graphics get to picture. So, without any further ado, we want to welcome my friend Henry Graphics. So, welcome, Henry.
Welcome.
All right, so we are going to jump in.
Do we get a sound rolling?
Oh, we can.
We can't.
Justin can
Sound speed.
Sound speed. That's it.
There you go.
There it is. I don't
You're not on set too much.
ever.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. As we're about to find out.
All right. Well, here we go. Sound speed.
Hi, Henry. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
I'm glad to be here.
So you are a graphic designer by trade, and that's your official title, right?
Correct.
And so I think to get us going, we're going to go a little bit into the past, as we like to do. What got you into design originally? Were you an art kid growing up, or a computer kid, and it just kind of merged, or
Both.
both?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's all tracks.
Oh yeah. My dad is a computer engineer. He does networking and everything, and we always had a computer in the house my whole life. There's amazing photos of me in diapers using DOS and still being able to play Pac-Man. Like I could load it myself. I did
Oh
it.
wow! So what was that computer?
Oh man, it had to be like a Commodore 64 or
I
something.
love that. We coveted. We had like a wealthy cousins kind of situation, and so they had an Apple IIc.
We had an Apple too.
And,
at one point.
I remember we were all coveting that because
It didn't have color.
I don't remember it having color, but it did have print shop, and that was like the very first of its kind that I recall of any kind of like home art making.
Ours had, if you threw away anything icon on the desktop into the trash and then said empty trash can, Oscar the Grouch would come out and sing that he loves trash. So I would just create icons and delete them.
Okay. This wouldn't have been like earlier 80s. This would have been
Like 89. 90.
89, 90. Okay. So with computers and art at your disposal, was it like scholastically that they came together, or?
Eventually, yeah. I had a lot of software that I used growing up. I had at one point using some type of drawing and let you animate with a little onion skin. I drew my own South Park episode.
Oh, wow.
Animated.
Okay.
And then I got into a software called True Space. It was came on like 8 diskettes. And it was like a first 3D rendering software, and I started doing that. And then in high school, we got to go. We had great art at Brother Martin, but we had to fight to try and go to NOCA to do visual artwork there.
Great institution.
and it's become infinitely better. It's
Since you were there.
oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
And then since then, I went to Tulane for software engineering or
Okay.
software application and design, and I learned a lot of the psychology of like intuition on an application or any type of like software or program you're using on your computer, be it a website or anything you need, like the actual psychology of where the mind's going to go. And something looks like a button or it feels like you can press it. Like there's one that I actually really like that I know iOS does it. I don't know if Android, but at the very bottom of the screen, you don't really notice the 3 dots or how many dots of how many pages you have, but your brain picks it up and you know to swipe those little dots because it'll move.
Oh, interesting.
But that's all part of like the psychology of design.
It makes sense. I've just never given it thought, and I'm assuming that same knowledge would be what goes into a lot of development and add, how to make something aesthetically.
Where your eyes go to, right? Is there a whole lot of like rules of like there could be text up top, but your eyes automatically read something else based on whatever.
And then even with text size, color palettes, color theories, everything can be fueled by just the psychology of designing something, and it's a lot of fun. And that's what I started getting into.
Okay. Were you ever in a test group? I always imagine those rooms where it's like you got the control group and the other group, and there's people looking through the one-way mirror kind of thing. And
Never done that, but I did have to learn.
Interesting.
How to,
it's weird that you haven't.
they're swiping just the way we want them to.
No, it was a lot of like, I had to learn how to speak that creative talk, like where you show them, and then this is why I did it. And I had to like take an extra class and get tutored because I was just like, that's because I did it.
Oh, weird! Like an extra class and just how to explain
bullshit.
your homework,
I did it because I was looking up at the sky and noticed Orion's belt, and it was just something I needed to translate. Like,
sure.
it's just like that jargon that people want to hear. Apparently,
That reminds me of if you ever go to an art show and you see the synopsis that's with the artwork, that they always make the artists have to put some kind of something on it, and it's not always, but oftentimes horrifically written and dumb and over-explanatory.
because nobody's apparently allowed to just say, "Well, I just did it because I did it."
Yeah, right, exactly.
They want to know, what were you feeling while you did it.
Now that I'm remembering that, there was an artwork piece that was literally on the floor corner of the space, and it was handmade ceramic teacups, and they were in a haphazard pile, many of them broken. It literally looked like trash on the floor, and it was just a pile. And then you realize, oh wait, that's an art piece. And then when you read the thing, I remember it was saying like, teacups, fragile like our own lives. That like that kind of stupid talk, and then you're going like, "Oh, that's really lame." Like,
bitch, you dropped your art project.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to go back and say that.
There's amazing photos of an
$3,000, by the way, for that.
It was
piece
an
of crap.
exhibition. Somebody dropped their glasses on the ground, and people were taking photos of it, and everybody was crowded around.
Michel Duchamp would be rolling in his grave right now.
And no, it was just somebody dropped their glasses. There was.
Yeah,
Life
there's
is
no
art.
deeper meaning into it. That's really funny. Half of the education you just described, I didn't know existed until you said it. But I love that there's a class that you can take to explain or teach you how to explain what you did on something. That's wild. Now, when you were growing up, were you also like a movie kid, or?
Yeah, we had a lot of cameras. Like, I see you have 8mm Elmo down there. I used that before. And then when the world of digital came about, I was doing everything I possibly could to get a hold of a digital camera to do stop motion. And then when I figured out I had a video feature on it, that was it. I was making films nonstop.
That's cool.
And I mean,
What was your South Park episode about?
I don't remember because it didn't have audio. I had to type everything out too. I know Kenny died.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
I can promise you that.
I made it around the time that it was probably season 1 of
Gotcha.
South Park just came out, and I was just like, this is great.
Yeah.
Because I love stop motion. These guys literally use cardboard and construction paper to make a TV show. I'm excited. Like, I've made clay figures all the time, like all kinds of stop motion. And then when I get the digital camera, I could finally go outside and film something. And I had a TV show in my mind that we tried to make. It was called Scott the Time Cat.
Okay.
And it was about my cat stealing essentially a DeLorean style car.
Okay.
And my cousin was the main actor, and he would just get stuck in the car with the cat driving, and the cat would just bring him around to different times, and he ends up messing up his own timeline, and when they get back, he's a girl.
Okay.
Your friend or the cat?
No, the guy. Yeah,
Okay.
the cat. But it's the cat. The cat was just essentially being a cat, but with time. So he's just knocking time over.
Okay, I see. Cute.
Yeah, we filmed a lot of that, and it went nowhere. But it was an excellent idea, and it was a lot of fun just spending time out.
Is it like Toonces the cat with time instead? Like it's still
just a driving cat. Yeah,
it's still poorly driving through time.
Yeah, I even made a fake orange cat prop leg to hit the shifter.
That's great. So when did all of this kind of come together as far as you starting a career in film with graphics? Because graphics is kind of a hard thing to just like waltz into right away.
Oh yeah. So I was working in software at a oil positioning system company, and I was not happy. I was in like a dark room all the time.
That sounds terrible.
And so I eventually left I got fired.
Oh. That's another way of leaving.
It's good reason.
It was almost an Office Space kind of situation. Like I was
without the hijinks.
Well, yeah, but I was like, how am I still here? Like I was just showing up when I wanted, like just doing whatever I wanted. And
did you have a stapler that you coveted?
No.
I coveted nothing.
Eventually, they were just like, I drew on everything, and they were just like, okay, now we're firing you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I already had a job lined up at a bar that I was working at that ended up being a bar that film people frequented a lot. And I'm not going to say the name because I'm not proud of it.
Like, wait a minute. What?
Yeah. Let's just say it's a 24-hour bar in Metairie.
Oh, okay. All right. Not what I was thinking of, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
And so I met a lot of film workers through there
because we have weird hours, so we tend to
and there was
go to 24-hour places.
A grip in town that I was friends with from working over there, and he was like, we could use another set of gloves on set. And so he got me a day play on, and I was so into it that I picked up a copy of the grip book.
Oh.
And read through it, learned, I knew all my knots from Boy Scouts, and got in there and just had a great time. And that was it. I was hook, line, and sinker. This is where I want to be. Not particularly in the grip department, but I knew I wanted to be involved in the industry pretty much my whole life. But this was it. Finally,
right.
I got
you got a taste.
Dude, I got a little foot in the door. Just a pinky toe.
I feel like there's a joke we missed about a grip writing a book.
Oh, listen, I've been thinking that this whole time. I was like, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
The grip book was a good read.
No, yeah, that's the joke.
Well, I guess the idea is that you would have to have a ghostwriter because grips can't write. So they would have to dictate the
There's
book.
one out there that's not.
Kidding. We love our grip brothers and sisters.
No, we do.
So yeah, from there, I was helping everybody load the trucks at the end of the night.
Mhm.
And I was helping costumes at one point, and they were like, "Oh, we're going on to another film. We could use, a guy to help us move all these Z racks and do all this stuff." And I was only day playing with the grip, so I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll
Yeah.
hop on." So I hopped on a costume
Costumes loves having a dude around for that.
and started doing that as a costume PA. And that's about when Jindal decided to cut the tax incentives here.
That'd be 2015, 2016.
And then I had a call from the same crew that I worked with, and they were in Atlanta, and they were like, "Can you come up here and do a show?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Went up to Atlanta, moved up there, ended up staying there for 2 years,
I didn't
working
realize
on
you were there
wow.
that long.
different shows, did costumes with them. And then I had another friend that I met on that show that was in art department, and she had brought me to a different show in Atlanta, and that's when I started as an art PA.
Mhm.
That's when I knew, like, oh, I found like my home base.
Right.
Oh, and I did do set PA a little bit here or there. It was a little bit before I did the grip, but that was always like a day play kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm just locking up streets or whatever kind
Yeah.
of deal.
As an art PA, because it is inevitable if you're an art PA and you're trying to get into the art department, into something more significant, a union position, you and say the art department knows the skills that you already have. It's only a matter of time before there's going to be some level of abuse. It's just kind of a question of like, what is the level? And it's sort of like a welcome abuse because you need to kind of go through that.
Essentially, you're asking me how many times did I have to assist the graphic?
Right, without getting paid to do
Right.
that.
And you can't complain. You can't complain or you just won't get a job.
For about 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's on me because I stayed as an RPA, like going through different shows and everything and learning. But there was a point where I realized unlike like a production PA or the different PA positions, the RPA has an infinite connection throughout a lot of the different departments.
Mhm.
And essentially the largest, most important job the RPA does is provide lunch for the art
Yes,
department.
the lunch is always paramount.
Yeah. But I had a blessing to work on a show where they had the family, not just the family side, but it was like the production provided it all.
Mhm.
So I had ample time to learn, because the RPA's position, you can learn so much from that without having the stress of the graphic designer, the art coordinator. Like, those jobs just have so many things that they actually need to be doing. There's no time.
Mhm.
And that's when I realized that I turned down any kind of moving up for a little bit. Like, I stayed where I was comfortable to know I could do my job, do well, but I could also learn like the set designers, the graphic designer, the art coordinator, art director. Like, I just wanted to absorb as much as I could.
Which is, that's not a bad thing. The bulk majority of people in our industry, I think, are trying to rise to the top quickly. And a lot of times you get you can get people that can wing it well. You get hacks. You have people that do have solid backgrounds that are able to move up, or people that were in different industries. Maybe they got in a little later, like Zoe, where you have a smart head on your shoulders and you have general work experience because you're not 21 years old. And
I'm also a hack. Don't know.
I've seen you got some chops. But yeah, I like, there is something to be said if you can have the time to do it. Cause like, I think I was a PA for a total of 7 years. And part of that is I couldn't decide on a department at first. I kept traveling in and out of the country. And so each time I'm coming back, I'm kind of like hitting a reset button of sorts.
Also, with lack of training too, it's helpful to absorb as much information without
Sure.
seeming like you're getting, you know what I mean? Being able to absorb by observing, you know what I mean? That
It helped.
yeah.
In hindsight, it helped. I mean, that, union money would have been nice at an earlier,
Insurance
stage,
would have
and the
been
insurance
great.
would have been nice.
Yeah.
That decade I didn't go to a doctor.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, I hope everything's all right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, PAing in different departments and staying with the RPA, I was able to absorb so much. And then again, like eventually I got asked to come onto a show as the digital asset manager.
Ugh.
Mm.
I know what that is.
That is a
Damn.
really cool title
Not a cool.
where you just organize everybody's files.
Yes.
But apparently it is a union position, so I got insurance.
Oh, okay.
I could have applied for a union job, but it was it was not recognized locally.
Huh.
It
Okay.
was only recognized in Los Angeles.
Interesting. Because I was going to say,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the position. I don't know it as a union position.
Yeah, well, so I got insurance through Fox because it is a union position in Los Angeles.
Interesting.
But as a local, like they don't have it here.
That must have been a larger show to have somebody on site doing it.
Logan.
Oh, that would make sense.
Mm.
So when you are starting to make the switch to doing graphic design, and you need to, your resume is more or less a portfolio as well, right?
For sure.
And so are in the beginning, you're having to kind of pull from maybe like stuff you did in school or possibly stuff you did randomly as an art PA?
Very good question. So I did a lot of the work that I did assisting the other graphic designers. I pulled those because I mean, it was my work that I did.
And that gives you a little trade-off too
Yeah.
for doing it.
And then I was reading some books that I liked and decided to illustrate and create logos for the different brands and things in the books. Like in Snow Crash, there's like Uncle Alonzo's Pizza Company.
Okay.
So I did those. There's a lot of
What a cool and
corporations.
specific. I thought you were going to say book designs for the book,
No,
but
just the
the
logos.
products and logos.
Just for the
That's cool.
products.
It's funny.
Yeah, so I did a lot of products for
That's how
that.
you sharpen those skills.
Yeah.
Just a lot of books that I have read or like really enjoyed that didn't have a movie.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like already tainted to go to that. So I had like a fresh palette to like create something. So I did
Right.
a lot of that and put that in my portfolio.
Because I guess the thing that it's kind of hard to judge a graphic designer on until you work with them is it's not necessarily the final products themselves, because like if you're good at that, you're good at that. But then they want to know like time management and like how quickly can you crank this stuff out.
For
And-
sure.
and that's something that I wanted to get into, because I think a lot of people that aren't around the art department don't realize that graphic designers are often under high levels of stress because of constant time constraints. And I'd put a thing in my notes here, like as if you're trying to get a job and they bring you in for like an interview, but instead they're like, give me 6 variations of a slushy designed. It's called Avalanche. You have 30 minutes. TikTok, Mr. Henry.
30 minutes, not long. But
I
yeah,
know, right?
it's not going to look good, but you'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. But with that, can you take us through, I guess, what would be sort of the start to finish of a particular design request? Like if we'll keep it as a prop, since that's what I was saying in a
For
slushy
sure.
design. But
Yeah. So we'll get our script
Mhm.
and we'll do like the initial breakdown. Like a graphic breakdown would be anything that's actually mentioned in the script, like a branding, a company, a logo, anything that you can just off the bat know they're going to need that. And then of course the prop breakdown is essential for me. I'll do the same highlight, like a paper, a page in a book, a bill, a
right,
check.
the unscripted stuff that
Right.
yeah, like the policeman is pulled over someone and they have their metal clipboard out where they're writing a ticket or something, but maybe we don't have the tickets, and
For
so
sure.
we need graphics to make us tickets.
Yeah. And it's a lot of that. So I do my breakdown and then we'll have that. And so all of this has to go through the art director because they are the essential like hinge pin in the entire art department. They manage all the time that needs to be, because there's things that I don't know, like that may be going on with production that they'll know, as far as like scheduling. Like there's hundreds of times where
That's because you're in a cave.
yes,
Yeah.
because it takes so much time to do these things.
Right.
I don't have time to know, like, okay, if there's a schedule change, they'll know ahead of time. I have to wait for production to print it out
Mhm.
and bring it to me before I know that the schedule's changed. So I could be working on something that's not going to be, it was for like tomorrow or yesterday, because
Right.
everything's due yesterday. But now it's a week away.
Hmm.
And then there's a lot of projects where if it's a larger sign, where even though it doesn't play for another week, I have to schedule the actual fabrication time
Exactly.
of the actual product. So that, yeah, so I do my breakdown. We'll have our production meeting, which generally goes over what we know is the schedule at the time. We'll go through the schedule. That'll help me shift everything around. I'll meet with the art director. We'll figure out what is more
Pressing,
pertinent,
yeah.
yeah, like that we need to do. And then we'll pump out all the logos that are like in the script, anything that we need to actually have names cleared for, things like that. Try to pump out as much rough drafts as I can. That way we can get it in front of the production designer as fast as possible. They can get in front of the director. They can choose a path that they want to actually go with it, and then rope it back in, and we'll make a final product, try and get that approved. And then that can go into fabrication of whatever application that it needs, that the location or set calls for.
And we can go in with that to use as an example. If you have, let's say, a company that's maybe a private company, they have their own in-house security, and now that logo that you've been tasked with creating, getting those approvals for, is going to be on letterhead, on props,
badges.
It's going to be on badges on your in-house security. It's going to be probably wall decor in some form or fashion for the companies, whatever. And so
Floor murals.
yeah, floor murals. So suddenly you have multiple departments that are all, clamoring for the same item, basically, because they all need it for
Set
their
deck will
own.
need it
Yeah.
infinitely. Props needs it infinitely.
Yeah, I just described. See, that was costumes, props, and set deck, and arguably construction if it's a big enough sign to hang. So that's upwards of 4 departments for one logo that everyone's waiting on. Of course, because like you said, they needed it yesterday, and that's one of those things that I think is interesting because of the Balance Act. I think y'all are also a position that, and tell me if you agree, but I always feel like graphics is one of those jobs where the work is too much for one person, but not enough for 2 people. And so just the nature of business, people aren't going to give help because they can't justify that full timiness of it.
Oh, you'll never.
It's
like,
rare that
very
second,
rare producer will actually approve of like a second time. That's where a lot of times where, like, I know y'all have like backup designers and stuff.
We'll
that y'all can
we'll outsource when we have
it.
to.
Yeah, and then that's easy to do because you can actually just invoice
Yeah, exactly.
that individual, which again helps out infinitely for any graphic designer, because like if I'm not on a show, even if I am on a show, a little invoice pay never hurts.
That's that and actually with that example, we then have to turn around and justify why we need this outsourced person, and it's because the graphic in-house person is slammed, and we need to have this by X date or whatever, and it can vary show to show, obviously, for like the level of need, but the demand is always there, especially TV seems, because
TV
painfully fast is TV.
Well, yeah, it's fast, and I find a lot of TV shows are heavily graphic based because they're trying to show their fictional world. They're trying to show anything that they can to bring you into that story very fast, and the best way to do that is through signage or logo or anything, because once you have that, you can establish a set or a company or anything like that. Even with an establishing shot, the amount of signage we pump out and money we spend on literally just an establishing shot is incredible.
Oh yeah.
But that is all takes time. You have to have it, made, ready, produced, fabricated, on like actually put out there and camera ready. And yeah, it's a lot of work. And I mean, I get my 10 hours in a day working.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's another one of those kind of what you were saying earlier, where a schedule can shift. You can have something that was needed tomorrow, but now because let's say weather is affecting the schedule, so then we might turn to what we call cover sets, which I think we've talked about on the show before. Oh yeah, we did on Jaws. Because
Cover calls.
through 'em so
If we
quickly.
look at weather, cover calls can be extremely stressful because I now have two sets that I have to have prepared
Right.
in the same amount of time as
Right.
one. So yeah, those can get very stressful. Hopefully, with a little love from the first AD and scheduling, they would make it like something that doesn't need to be graphically heavy,
Right.
but that it needs some finagling sometimes. Yeah.
And generally every time, what's the number of sample designs that you try to have for
Depends on the production designer.
okay.
Like you just kind of have to get to know them, feel them out. I like to do 4, usually rough.
That feels like a good minimal number.
Yeah. And that's with just not doing color,
Right.
because I try to do black and white, because at that point, as we're filling it out, I'm also waiting on the info from like costumes if it needs to be embroidered.
Oh, right.
So I don't want to do something too fantastical, like, and heavy. If it needs to get embroidered, it has to be cut to a certain amount of like shapes, threads, and everything. So yeah, I usually generally do black and white 4 to do like a rough estimate, like for a look of what direction we're going.
Right.
Until I get the rest of the information from everybody in other departments of where it needs to be and what it needs to look like. Like then I can start breaking it into, and I'll work with the production designer on that, with the look of how that's going to be.
Okay. Now, moving us along before we kind of get to our little rappy thing that we like to do at the end. So as we've all been having erratic work and everything, usually I'm asking, what do you like? Like, what are the aspects you like the most about your job? Like the challenges. I kind of want to also say, what do you miss the most about your job? Since right now none of us are working that much, but
Food.
yeah, food. No, I'm not gonna lie. When I'm in the office, I tend to
Gain 20 pounds.
well, yeah, I do gain weight, but I'm always pushing for the restaurant I've never been to because I want the free meal to try to see if I like the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I'm always going like, oh, why don't we go to that new place over on the corner? But it's very selfish. But what are the things that give you the most satisfaction at the end of the day on a particular job?
Oh man, since I've been doing graphic design, I mean, I love every aspect. I mean, there's so much. Like, it is the job that when you wake up in the morning, like I wake up before my alarm and I don't even need to snooze. It's the type of job that I want to be there. Like, I get up early, I get ready, I have no problem waking up. I will get to the office early, start the coffee if I have to. Like, I can't wait to be prepared for the day. Since I've been doing it. It is an absolute joy. I love being able to be creative. I love like having everybody in my department, like an art director, like who can just help you find what you do best and then help you, guide you to the way of creating what we need for the camera. All the people, I get to bring my dog to work.
That's a pretty good
It's
bonus.
a really huge
Yeah.
bonus.
It is. It's beautiful.
You have a really beautiful dog.
Yeah, she loves it.
Shout out to Stormy.
Always jealous of the people who can bring their dog.
Oh man,
Yeah.
dude, she's
To work.
I was told that if I didn't bring her, I couldn't come back to a show.
Smart.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, there's so many gratifying things about the day that, finding a design, just discussing your job with the other people who are like-minded and in that. So it's like, it's just a world where everybody has a goal. We get to nerd out about the things that we love about what we're like our goal, and to just actually produce it and make it, and then to walk onto a set that you just spent like a week designing and making, and just seeing it as a reality. It's just, it has never felt like it hasn't. Like the first time I did it, like every time it feels the same. It's just mind blowing. Like
That's a good drug because you don't have to up the ante with each time you're getting the high.
I don't know, man.
If it's keeping a steady high, that's good.
Turning MSY Airport into LAX, and then walking down the corridor was probably the pinnacle.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like that was awesome.
Because
Like,
we had
That's how you feel going to work every day.
we just had what we did. We did MSY for 3. It was
3 or 4, 3 days?
It was, well, no. I'm trying to think. It was a Barcelona airport. It was a Vancouver airport, and it was JFK as well. So we had to break up multiple sections to be different airports.
I think there was a fourth one in there too somewhere.
It wasn't. I was hoping I was going to have one of those like fun experiences when you go from like one set to another, and it's like you go through a portal kind of situation.
oh, I love that.
It's so much fun. This was too spread out, so you didn't quite have that feeling. But it's kind of like you're running to like, okay, I need to get over here to baggage claim to drop off some stuff. Oh, look, there's a tapas bar. Oh, that's Barcelona. Okay,
Yeah.
And then like you keep going on your way to the luggage.
Yeah. I mean, we had that with the golf course clubhouse.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because walk into a museum, and then now you're in a hallway of an apartment complex. Go through another door, and you're in India. Or
I don't know if. I mean, I'm trying to think of the right express. Polishing a turd's not exactly the right one, but that building,
I think it had.
It's an outdated clubhouse for a defunct.
I feel like they built one part of it.
Club.
Yeah.
They built one part and got an architect to build another part, and then got a different architect to make another part. So the building itself has 5 or 6 very individual styles of architecture.
It's very odd to begin with, and then I think we can say it.
River Ranch? Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. It's
I love places like
the leverage people have used that facility for 3 seasons more or less, and so it has gotten a lot of different iterations of things, kind of like to your point, Henry. But yeah, that building has been flipped a lot.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
It is a pretty. I've never thought about it so much too, because usually when I'm in there, it's already like halfway or completed to whatever new set or design it's supposed to be. But you're right, that building is a really weird. The layout and everything is odd. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Henry just opened up a door.
To anher building that's has weird architecture.
Oh, brick.
That's still the same building.
As starting to wind us down, there's a couple of things we like to always end on, and I think for the first part of it, we want to ask, we like to allow for any venting or anything like that. We usually refer to it as a soapbox. It's been a minute since we pulled out the soapbox, so I might have to dust it off. But if there's anything like maybe something you wish that could be improved in your world, it could be maybe the quality of restaurants is bad if you work in this town. I don't know. But it's just a chance for you to kind of say whatever you want. And then after that, we also ask any advice that you'd like to impart on people. That can be very broad too, whether it's just general industry advice or art department specific advice. But it's your floor to say.
So, like food, I would like to state that the lunch allowance needs to match inflation.
You know, that is probably the best thing anyone said on the show so far, because that's so true.
Yeah, $15. What the hell is it?
The $15.
That's it. You can't even go to McDonald's anymore.
I just
No.
spent $16 at Taco Bell last night.
Oh my god!
Even like the
And that
crappiest
used to give you
salad.
everything.
That used to get you
Yeah.
the whole menu.
Yep.
So that's my only real gripe.
The Mexican pizza is an expensive combo.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah, it's
$22 minimum should be the new lunch.
I'm
But I
on
mean,
board.
thinking about tip though, 22. Fine. I say 22 minimum.
I mean, I would be fine. I mean, even if it got to 18, I would be fine. It's
So
just,
I'm
you
sorry,
really-
y'all are referring to the lunch allowance?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Because
Like
I got off
yeah.
of a show last year that it was 20.
Oh,
Whoa.
was it a commercial job?
Whoa.
No,
was it
it
a-
was the thing that I did. It was
Oh.
The thing. Totally.
The thing.
I remember that thing.
that thing.
Anytime I do commercial or photo shoot or anything of those natures, then I've noticed that there tends to be a higher allowance for those. The best was we did a magazine photo shoot for is it Complex magazine, I think. But the guy that was with me, shout out to Seth. He and I no one told us like what our allowance was, so we were just being cheap, and so every day we're like a McDonald's kind of thing or whatever. And the production designer was working remotely from New York, and so it was our last day, and we're basically doing wrap and returns and things like that. And she said, "I'm seeing your stuff, and what have y'all been eating?" And so we're like, "Oh, well, we didn't know what the allowance was, so we've just been doing like fast food and stuff." She goes, "You guys have like a $25, allowance." And she's like, "So why don't you just go somewhere nice today?" And so we're like, "Okay." So literally in my entire career, it's the only meal I've ever had that wasn't like a special wrap meal that was provided or something, where we got oyster appetizers. We were like me and
Nice.
Seth were going to town.
Right. So
Like,
Yeah.
it was such a good meal. It was like an
Wherever the
$80, $100
office
meal.
this is how it should be done. Wherever
to
the
catch
office
up.
is,
Yeah.
the closest Viet restaurant and the price of the pho with tip, that should be the bare minimum.
I think that's a good way
Oh,
to
that's
look at
smart
it.
to do it by
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a steady one we order all the time. And you're right that
And not just fuck guys.
16-ish dollars is usually kind of the average. So and that's without tip.
Oh, no, recently it's like 19, almost 20 for
What?
a bowl. Yeah.
Where are you getting
Yeah,
from?
good fun.
Getting that good.
Getting that good fun, man. What about advice that you would like to impart to anyone listening?
So definitely, like we had stated before, I think people tend to try and rush everything too fast, like rush into try and like, oh, I have to climb this ladder as fast as I possibly can. If you're at a point that you're comfortable with and you see the job that you want to have, make sure that wherever you are while you're comfortable to learn as much about that position as absolutely possible, even if it makes you have to take a lower pay cut to come back as your position again to learn from somebody else. Because I mean, if you're just on one show and you learn one person's way of doing things, that could possibly not be the best way to do a certain thing.
Yeah, you could be learning something that's absolutely wrong.
Well, you made a good
Wrong.
point earlier when you said how many, I don't know, mock-ups you give. You were like,
Right.
it depends on the production
Yeah,
designer, which
right.
anytime PAs ask me for advice, I'm like, it's case by case.
It's
Everybody's
case by-
different. And this job, film industry is so much based on people's personalities and
Right.
working with people's
But
personalities.
the more time you can spend especially like essentially as a PA, you can learn the personalities and what other people expect, because the first time you learn something from one person is absolutely not going to be the same for the next. It could be absolutely completely different when you start, and then you can start to pick up like your essential tools for yourself. Like you say, you could be on one show and see how something's done. You can be like, this is awesome. And then the next show you do, you could bring that to that show and they're like, this is a really great idea. And you build up your own personal toolkit of ideas the way you like to move forward and have things done. And you're never going to get that on 1 or 2 or 3 shows. Like you're going to need to just sit back and learn and take that time while you have it, because once you're not in that position anymore, you have absolutely no time. There's the stress level skyrockets to the next position infinitely. And it just enjoy that time, like, and really learn with real life experience. I think that's the best advice I could give somebody. Yeah,
I think that's great advice. I would even go a step further with PA world, and the least attractive spots like accounting or like the production office and everything.
How's how you really feel?
I'm just saying they're not attractive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but are they important? They're vital. And I am very grateful for my PA tour that I did. I think it helped round me out better down the road and everything. Seeing, say, accounting, for example, I mean, that's the financial nervous center of the show. So everything's filtering through there. The production office, the information is filtering through there. So when you're at those like center kind of nervous system centers, you really get a good perspective on the production as a whole, as opposed to, say, if you're in costumes or props, you're seeing things from an angle. So it's a little bit more of a skewed perspective, but
Sure.
It's definitely, I mean, I everybody needs money and all that, but yeah, ideally, like if you can have a good foundation time as a PA, I think that's absolutely.
And then while you're
paramount.
there, also ask questions.
Oh yes, always ask questions.
Ask as many as you'd like. Ask if you could do something.
Yeah,
Like if you're really interested in learning a position, it never ever hurts to just ask, because that's essentially how you're going to learn more and more
Yes.
and more. And I know a lot of people are afraid to ask somebody who's above them about something, but as long as you have, you're a kind person, you're a good worker, you've got your job under, asking questions and learning from other people, I've found never hurts. Have a good sense of humor too.
yeah, that helps in our world.
Gone learning.
And they're what is it? The what is it? The worst question is the one you don't ask, or something like that. I can't remember how that goes.
Probably.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
You miss 100% of the
Speaking of
shots
sense
you
of
never take.
humor, do you ever give like just like joke mock-ups? Things
Oh,
you'll-
absolutely.
things you know that'll never make
You
it
slip
in,
something
and-
in.
Oh, I've done that to them hundreds of times. Especially like any QR code that they need.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
scan this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to know.
Good to
Good
know.
to know.
Well, Henry, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate you coming by, and hopefully see you sooner than later on not a set, but an office.
And off. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, man. Thanks for coming
Yeah,
by.
no problem.
Thanks, Henri.
Thanks, Henry.
All right. Thanks, Henry, for coming on. I am always impressed by graphic designers. Noble profession.
Noble.
Especially just the speed at which they can pump out options. But before we get out of here, any final thoughts on graphics? Should we have a what did we learn today moment?
Graphics is always just interesting to me that it's just one department. And like you said, it's one isn't enough, but two is too.
I've personally experienced that work situation more times than I care to admit, and so I anytime I see that, I always like immediately sympathize.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's nice to hear someone that's not like jaded and hates their job, because I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of film folk out there that I don't even think hate their jobs. I think they just like to complain or whatever. I don't know.
We're American, so that already makes us complainers.
Yeah.
And we work in an industry that likes to complain on top of being Americans.
Yes.
So we're a very complainy.
Yes. And like, yes, we do work long hours, and like, yes, sometimes film does totally like blow hard, but
the paycheck is usually when you go, I'll go do another 18-hour day outside.
Yeah, kind of thing. But I don't know. It's just it is nice to hear, because I always try to step on a set too and be like, this is cool. Mm-hmm. This is cool. Look at that. Like, this whole thing was created and it's going to be torn down. And I don't know. It's always interesting to me. It's just kind of nice to hear someone else say that, because it's like, even when I'm like not feeling it, I'm like, I try to remind myself, like, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool what we do.
We're lucky that we don't have a lot of repetition in our department. And so I think we're the type of people that not doing repetitive things keeps our interest high. I think it, and I think I've said it before. It's like, and this is in no way a knock against like factory work, but if I was on an assembly line doing the same thing over and over again, I may go postal.
Yeah.
So my personality type and abilities and everything serve very well in the environment that we work in. And Henry, I think it's another one of those things where, you're on a computer all the time, but you're constantly creatively coming up with different things. You're not repeating anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure eventually, we didn't really get into it, but I mean, eventually you could probably dial it in with certain things where, especially if Henry's making independent graphics on his own time, that's like, I got a couple of soda options already here for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Any other final thoughts on graphics before we get out of here?
Yeah.
Justin, you have the floor.
McDowell's.
There we go.
That was the name of the restaurant.
I don't think you can get away with that now. I feel like legal would be like, that is no, guys.
No, I loved. I really want to see some of the iconic designs that we've seen in movies over the years, but I want to see what ended up on the drawing room floor.
Yeah.
I want to see what didn't make it in.
That's something that I will say, shout out to Twig, another graphic designer and friend. Twig, I'm trying to think if Henry does it or not. I can't remember offhand, but Twig usually throws in an intentionally bad one. I guess I would compare it to if I'm showing watches maybe to an actor, and I really am just trying to fill out the case to make it look nice and full with options, but I really want you to look at certain options. Then I'm going to put less attractive or more off-putting things in there to sort of trick the eyes into going that way. And so I think it's a similar situation where maybe here's 6 design options, but really it's 5 design options. I just kind of threw a tosser in there, but it's also for my own humor. And so you'll see when you're looking at the design stage of that stuff, it's always a good laugh and everything, because it will never see the light of day. And so it's like maybe it's supposed to be a design for a breakfast restaurant, and all the logos involve like a fried egg, is maybe because that's the note that they got. And so it's like, make sure there's a fried egg in that logo, but then maybe there's one where they put a sombrero on a character and made the fried egg the sombrero, kind of thing. And then, or I meant to say poncho, and then the sombrero is an egg. And then you're going like, well, that's too much. That's not going to make it, and that's a little racy. And so, but you're looking at it going, it's still a funny logo, I know it will never see the light of day, but I'm glad I got to see this. I would wear that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something that we should be doing, is we should be making t-shirts of the designs that don't get chosen.
Yeah, it was exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. yeah, when you go like, and here we'll do another callback. Like, I don't remember the Cyberdyne logo looking that way. Like, oh, yeah, you must have not seen the super original Terminator.
This was the original.
It's the prequel. Before the company changed its logo. Anyway, all right. Well, I think that's good on graphics for today. So let's get out of here. And what do we do at this time? Oh yeah, Zoe, you have a thing.
Do you like what we're doing here? Do you have thoughts, comments, questions? Maybe you have an idea or suggestion for topics you want to hear about? Well, you can find us on the intrawebs. You can email us at filmfolklorepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on the social medias, Instagram being Film Folklore Podcast. We have a Facebook group called Film Folklore, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at The Film Folk. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.